tub.
So freaking bad. Wrestle me.
Welcome, everybody, to Juice Pro Wrestling, episode 118. Hostility. This week, we have another very motherfucking special guest for you guys, you boys and girls out there in the punk rock and wrestling world. We like to bring musicians on here that, we were influenced by, that we're fans of, that are also in the pro wrestling, so they can share their stories with the entire world. Why? Because it's fucking cool to do so. And this week, we have none other than the motherfucking mayor of Brutalville, Jeff Clayton from ASIC. What's going on, brother?
What's up there, man?
Just chilling at the Monday night as of this recording. I'm not watching Monday Night Raw.
I had to push you back an hour. Sorry about that, man.
Oh, no, I'm not watching because it's the drizzling shit.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be watching it either, so.
It's all good, man. How's everything going in your world, man?
Man, it's good. Everything's good down here.
Hell yeah. Good to hear, dude.
I hate that we don't, get to go out and play or anything, but, other than that, I guess under the circumstances, everything is as good as it can be.
Have you guys done anything as far as, like, the quarantine jams and all that shit that everybody's doing?
Yeah, man, we did a live show back on June 13th, seen by 18,000 people.
Fuck yeah.
It was the greatest thing on the internet. How'd you miss it?
I don't fucking know. I miss a lot of things.
Were you asleep up there in Indiana?
I could be. I very well could be. How is that compared to, it's really just the same as fucking practicing for you guys then, isn't it?
We didn't do it like a practice. A lot of groups are doing that. Like, oh, it's our practice, and you guys can see us. Now, we hired a sound crew that was not afraid of COVID-19. We hired a light crew and a sound man. And there's a PA, lights, set design, everything. We did it like a live show. I told the guys, I said, I don't care if we fumble and mess up the whole song. Keep going. We got to plow through, man. We ain't stopping and giggling about it. We're going to keep going. And we're going to play it just like a live show. And I told them, I said, keep this in mind. We're probably playing to the biggest crowd we've ever played to in our career.
Yes.
I said, keep that in mind. And I think it went real well. Matter of fact, It went so well that it's going to come out as a LP and CD sometime in September.
I fucking love that, brother. Got to capitalize on the moment, man. Super fucking cool. What was I going to ask you about that? So, in the midst of doing all this, it's fucking weird, though. I play in a band myself, and we've been kind of tossing around the idea of doing something like this. We do grindcore and all that shit, and we've always kind of went hard in the paint, whether there was, like, one person there or, a couple hundred people or whatever. But it's funny, like you said, you potentially could have been playing in front of the most people you ever played in front of, and it's not like you guys are any slouch band. You guys, Anti-City's definitely a brand and a fucking name that a lot of people are familiar with. You guys have been around forever, man.
Forever and a day.
Yeah, forever and a motherfucking day. Record with Gigi Allin and all that shit. That's something I want to touch upon here tonight, too. But I really want to get into some wrestling talk with you, man. You seem to be all up on the hardcore shit. You definitely got that Mick Foley vibe, with the flannel and the barbed wire bat, and when you play, you're rubbing the barbed wire on your head and headbutting it, which is fucking awesome.
All kind of nonsense with that.
Yeah. Really cool shit, though, man. Let's backtrack a little bit. When there was maybe you were a wee Jeff Clayton, how old were you when you got into wrestling?
Well, man, on a bunch of our late night drives home from wherever state we're in, back to the Carolinas, we talk about wrestling and, stuff that we grew up on, and I tried to pinpoint the very time, but I really can't, because it was just around all the time. Like, a grandpa watched it all the time, and it sounds hokey, but he was one of the dudes that yelled at the TV, would throw the TV guide at it. That was real.
Yeah.
It's not something that they make up. It happened. I saw it, and it was, the black and white wrestling at that point,
right?
The 60s, and I just remember one of the first live wrestling events I ever saw, and I don't know what group it would have been, but it was in a small town in Pfeiffer College, near the place I grew up, in New London, North Carolina, and it had people there like I just really remember Bulldog Brower. He really, really left an impression on me, and I think it was Rip and Buzz Tyler. It was guys like that. I don't remember there being any really big names, but I just remember watching Bulldog Brower, seeing that reaction he got, and how he kind of scared the hell out of me, and I really, really liked that,
Yeah.
And then, of course, a typical Saturday for us was, watching cartoons and American Bandstand and going out and raising hell for a while and come back in and to catch the wrestling at 3, and
hell yeah.
It was the Mid-Atlantic, and we watched that stuff, from very early time, and I guess I kept with it. I kept up with it all the way until I moved out of New London. I moved to Charlotte, and I moved into an apartment that had something. You may have heard of it. It's called cable. I hooked it up to the TV, and I saw this thing called Georgia Championship. And I was like,
yeah.
And I've seen a lot of these dudes in the magazines, but I've never seen them perform, And so a whole new world of that stuff was opened up for me. But, and I stayed a fan. I stayed a casual fan throughout the mid-'80s or the late 80s into the early 90s, I guess. I stayed a casual fan. I wasn't as gung-ho into it. And then I guess it started, when they started getting the shows on Saturdays, like 605,
Yeah, WCW.
Yeah, and watching all that, and then, of course, the Monday Night Wars started up, and then came the Attitude Era and all that stuff, and, and I stayed loyal all the way up, pretty far into that. Then it just got to be too much for me, and I couldn't take it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, especially when a lot of the guys that you love watching going up and all of them are dying off.
Yeah.
And I know there's a shitty attitude for new guys coming up, but, man, I mean, sometimes I just can't force it,
Yeah.
Like I can tell you the last pay-per-view I paid for.
What's that?
Was when Shawn Michaels retired Flair.
So there was Mania. Was one of the Manias, like, can't remember which number. I think it was like early 30s or 28 or something? I can't remember.
I can't remember. I just remember, that was going to be Flair's swan song.
Right.
I watched it. I saw Michaels do the getting ready for the Sweet Chin music. Told Flair he loved him, and then popped him. He crying like a baby. yeah, I know it's a work, but man, I'm still like, oh, good.
Yeah, I mean, but it's cool. That's that's why we're sitting here talking. That's why I like fucking talking to anybody that gets that emotion from it, because it is. I mean, everybody knows what wrestling is, but when it can do something like that to you and derive such emotion from a person, that's fucking entertainment. That's good entertainment,
Listen, I'm gonna tell you something, man. I was at one of the Starcades here in Charlotte, and I'm sorry, but I cannot remember numbers very well, man. I'm terrible about that, so forget. But it was the match where Flair won the belt back from Vader.
Oh shit! Okay, I remember that.
And it was the one where, and it was also the same show where Flair broke his tooth.
Mm-hmm.
And he was crying in the ring, bloody as hell, and crying because he was in enormous pain. Because that tooth just broke, He had to go to the emergency room after. Man, I remember when he won that belt, we were on the floor. We were like 5 rows away from the ring,
Oh,
and
man.
Eddie shit and everything. And, man, people were hugging each other, didn't even know each other. Me and my brother were teared up, Whoa,
That's great, dude. That's so fucking awesome.
Like, you're so overcome with emotion, and then you just want to go out and fight somebody.
Yeah, right? Exactly, dude. Super kick. And with Hell yeah, brother. That is what it is all about, man. me and Threaten have been the hell of shows here within the last couple of years since we've been doing this. And, even before I met him, we started doing this as a kid. I've been to a bunch of shows, and, dude, it really is. There's nothing. You can go to a sports game, whatever fucking sports team you like, or go to a movie, and if it's something you're really into, yeah, it'll get you. But man, dude, there's just something about like that raw feeling with professional wrestling when it's good and it's on fire. To me, there's nothing that really tops it, unless it's like seeing a fucking band that you fucking are amazed with, or some shit like that. Like say, imagine seeing like Sabbath or something like in the heyday, like this fucking rocket. Like there's words can't really describe it. I mean,
I'm telling you, I'll tell you, there's been times, and the most recent was when we played Japan. They're grown men.
Yeah.
Sobbing because they never thought they'd ever see us, man. And I take them and I hug them. I understand, man. Believe me,
That's crazy too. In Japan, huge wrestling culture over there. New Japan Pro Wrestling is absolutely huge right now, and it's one of the promotions that kind of started this latest little boom here in wrestling. What's it like going over there? Because I've seen that with a few other bands. I think I saw like Devo over there and shit, and I was like, man, it's some bands you wouldn't think that would be like translate well over to Japanese culture, but I mean, and they're over there like singing the fucking songs and shit. Like, what was it like when you guys were over there?
Man, listen, I'm gonna tell you something. Ever since I was a young kid, I wanted to go to Japan, man, because I fell in love with all that kaiju stuff.
Yeah.
I watch Ultraman every day, and to me, studying Japan on my own. Whenever we were studying in school, I was, and I wanted to go, and I just, this year I'm going to turn 57, and I went to Japan. It was for 3 days, it was for 4 days, 3 shows, and I found out that the treatment we got, it was what bands strive for. I mean,
right.
we were given a hotel. We were told what time our car would be around to pick us up. In Japanese, and they say we're going to be there at 3 o'clock. They don't mean 3:05. I mean, and they take you to the place. Shut up, feed you. They say the show starts at 8. Man, we were on stage at this one place 7:59, and they looked at us and they shook their head, nope, and they waited till that clock hit 8, and then they raised the damn curtain up. And they're like, all right, the show starts at 8. We started at 8, not 7:59, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
No, and man, the fans were just so. I mean, they figured they'd never see, because we're a band now into our 36th year at this point.
Yeah.
36 years, and we've never stepped foot over there. We've had records out over there. We've had CDs over there. We had the great Mr. Pogo posed for our greatest hits of the CD we did over there. He posed for the picture, wearing an Anti-Scene shirt and tearing Anti-Scene records up.
Fucking awesome.
So we've had all this. So they know who we are, but it never happened. Well, what turned out to be was there was this young band coming up, Kutsu Blizzard, along with another group called Shootmaster, which by that name you can tell they're wrestling influence.
Right.
Well, the lead singer, he is now the new Mr. Pogo.
Okay.
He wears the gimmick. He does it all.
Yeah.
But he's like, they're so loving people and just real. They just come up and he was telling me, because I always called him. What do I call him? I always give people nicknames, but he told me he's just like, I am now Mr. Pogo. You got it. You know what I mean now, man. It turned out we were only going to do Friday and Saturday, but a wrestling federation from over there called First Ring found out that we were over, and they're like, look, this may be the only time they come. We got to have them, and we don't do shows on Sunday, but we'll do one on Sunday to have them. And it was a tribute show to Mr. Pogo. And what is it's not Jun Kasai, but the other blonde fella that does the hardcore stuff.
Oh,
Because of the I'm sorry, I'm terrible with names.
No, I get it. Kasai's the one. Is he the one that wears the goggles?
No, that's Jun Kasai.
Yeah. I can't think. I know what you're talking about.
It's the other guy, but the blonde guy, Japanese guy. Anyway, he was there, and man, it was way bigger than we expected it was going to be, and so it was like a hardcore match and a band, a hardcore match. And we got to play with Japanese band Abigail, and when we played, we were the last thing after the last match, and it was, I forgot to mention, it was also my 50th birthday.
Killer.
And I couldn't think of a better way to spend the goddamn birthday. A death match in Japan to get to play.
Yeah. No shit, man. Japan, like home of the fucking death match,
And, they made us like the grand marshals of the whole event. They gave us stashes with our names on them. We took these little plastic balls that you sign, you throw them into the crowd and stuff. All the wrestlers had them and everything. It was pretty incredible.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. I mean, that's the dream come true, dude.
It certainly was, yeah.
I'd love to go. Japan's one place I haven't hit up yet. It's definitely somewhere I've been wanting to go since I was a kid, and all the amazing wrestling talent that's come from over there. And I was a huge Samurai Sunday fan as a kid. They used to have all the fucking martial arts movies and shit on. Man, dude, I love, like, what I perceive the culture to be, and what you kind of said, it's super respectful. They're very, like, precise, like, on time. It's all about respect over there,
Man, check this out. Like, one of the mornings, like, all of us would get up, and we just walk our separate ways all over the place, because there weren't no bad areas. And man, like one morning, I just grabbed something to drink, and I heard someone on this overpass just watching a construction crew get ready for some work, for work today. And you might think, well, you're that bored, but I'm telling you, man, it was something to see. Dudes lined up. They had their hard hats under their arms. The foreman tells them, hi, and they all go, hi, put it on. And I was like, God damn, this is amazing. Loved it. I loved everything about Japan, man. The only thing I didn't like was a 15-hour plane ride. But, man, I'll do it again in a minute.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Would you say that's definitely then your most favorite place that you've ever played? I mean, you guys been rocking around for a long fucking time.
We played, since Japan now, we've played 18 countries in the world, and that was my favorite by far, yes.
You got any horror stories from anywhere you've been overseas?
Jesus Christ, yes.
Give me one real quick.
Well, the last time we went over to Europe, 2016, and we go, and man, we're playing with Negative Approach, and it's going great. First show, I think they said was sold out, and it's 2016. The United States is in the news, and I raised my hand and said, "Make Germany great again." Well, I was kind of referring to 1991 when we first went over there, but everyone else assumes you mean 1941. So,
Right.
Yeah, so our tour kept getting, like, every show kept getting canceled. And some places refused to bow down to the PC, cancel mob and see you guys are going to play here. This is, Germany, where anti-scene, got big. Y'all going to play here, So there were a lot of people that stuck by us and realized, and some of these promoters have known us for 20 years. They know, they wouldn't work with us if we were those kind of people. They would have paid our airfare to be over there, Silly.
Yeah, there's some ridiculous shit going on in the world. I mean, how are you handling that? I mean, because here's my take on it. I try not to be, I don't care if I'm offensive to people, but I don't go out of my way, you know what I mean, to, like, necessarily hurt anybody's feelings or directly go, like, at somebody. I mean, unless it's well fucking deserved. I mean, because let's face it, we've all met fucking assholes in our lives that ain't worth the fucking time of the day. But, how was that for you guys? And, like, anybody familiar with anti-scene and just kind of like your guys' whole mentality, not saying, like I said, I'm not saying you guys are fucking straight up assholes or anything, but you guys are just some real motherfuckers, and in this day and age where it's like, man, you can't even make a joke out of, like, certain things and subjects.
Well, man, like back when we were really kind of using the rebel flag imagery, for us, it basically meant we're from the South and we're proud of it, and we don't care if you like it or not. That's what it meant to us. It meant rebel. We were not, we're all of us in the beginning were all small town guys, man. We didn't use a rebel flag imagery trying to reignite the Civil War.
Right.
That's most ridiculous thing. You know, we grew up watching and listening to Leonard Skinner in Black Oak, Arkansas, stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, well, you know, it's just from the motherfucker. Everybody else tries to hide their Southern accent, tries to hide the fact that they are from bumfuck little town, South Carolina, North Carolina, whatever. But we're proud of it, and we still are. It's just that the thing that we used to use is now considered a hate emblem. Now, I can't help that what we used got bastardized by the PC culture, but it did. That's the battle we lost, and I'm not willing to jeopardize the safety of my band members, businesses of the people that put out our records or book us tours or you know, have any kind of management with us. When I'm not ready to put them in jeopardy just to do something that used to be just to mildly annoy people.
Yeah, right. I mean, to me, it's colors and some things, stars and put together and whatever. And obviously, you know, I'm up here. It doesn't have much symbolism really to me at all. But
it wouldn't make much sense for you.
Right. And it's just, but I do get it. It's also awesome that, hey, man, you understand it. And it's like, fuck it. It's not worth it. People are going to make such a fucking uproar about it. It ain't worth making me and my own, the people around me, making their lives fucking miserable, you know, over what's something clearly that people can't fucking stop right now because, you know, obviously there's not more important shit going on in the world, but whatever.
No shit, man. And you know, there was 10 years before we incorporated it. There was 10 years since it kind of faded out. We're more than that. We're not the poster boys for trying to reignite the Civil War. So, you know, people that, you know, give a shit for, oh, you guys used to be wild and racist. Now you're not.
Yeah, right. Well, that's kind of a good segue into something I want to talk about here because, I mean, you guys, you basically did the last recordings with a gentleman. I shouldn't say a gentleman. Probably, in my opinion, and Stratton gives me flack about this because he's not a fan of him, but I maybe I'll get shit for saying this, but I respect the man because he was who he was, and I'm not necessarily condoning. I shouldn't have to justify myself, but, you know, PC culture, whatever. We don't want to get canceled, boys and ghouls. That it was himself, and he was, to me, the epitome of punk rock because, to me, punk rock is just this attitude. It's not what you wear, you know, how you look or any of that shit. I mean, he was himself, and I'm talking about G.G. Allin, a guy who I don't think would fare too well in today's society and culture, but if you don't mind, man, real quick, what was that like recording with him and cutting, you know, those tracks and shit with Gigi? And what was he like with you guys?
Well, man, with us, you know, it's like I found an article on him in Maximum Rock and Roll.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I think our guitarist, the late, great Joe Young, probably.
Yes.
He showed me, man, check this dude out. You know, read this shit. And we were reading what he says, like, damn, you know, this guy's, you know, because we thought we were going to be, man, we're going to be the most controversial confrontation band in the damn world. Fuck it. You know, read about G.G. and then we were like, we said, man, we got to see this. We got to see if this is real. So back in these days, man, Gigi used to put out ads and Mac Marlboro, put his fucking phone number in.
Yeah.
Right? So we called one night, got his answer machine. Joe says to him, hey, G.G. Allin, this is Joe Young. I play an anti-scene. And if you're as big and bad as you think you are, he goes, why don't you bring you and your little 1-inch dick and come down here and play in Charlotte, North Carolina. My number is blah, 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 blah. Hope to hear from you soon.
At the shoot.
So a couple nights later, we get a phone call. You know,
yeah,
and it was him agreeing. And man, when he got down here, you know, me and him hit it off immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he didn't have to get used to me, or I didn't have to, you know, I treated him the way I want to be treated when I come to an out-of-town show. I mean, they're just coming for this one show, you know, and of course, all hell did break loose, and everything I'd heard of happened right before my eyes, and I was just like, that was the wildest fucking thing I ever saw in my life.
Yeah.
And man, ever since that night, we stayed friends, and during the time when I guess the next step after this meeting would have been when he hooked up with the disappointments.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, because that's where the shit happened that he got.
Yeah.
And in prison, we wrote to each other, and we actually went to Jackson, Michigan to visit him. And that meant a lot to him, I mean, we were on tour, but we took a whole day to go out of our way to go visit him. And that spoke a lot to him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That said something to him. And, we stayed friends the entire time when he got out. And we said, hey, man, when we got all this loose stuff that we're not doing anything with, we'd like for you to, we'll let this be your next album. You can come out, it'll be GD and Anti-Scene. And, man, we gave him a cassette. He couldn't have it in prison, but when he got out, he was staying at a halfway house in Ann Arbor for a while. And, man, he already had a notebook full of the songs, right? And by the time he came down to Charlotte, he already had, I don't know how many tunes we did. The album you got from me the other day, that's it. And he already had the tunes. We had already recorded the music, so we were done. So it's just a matter of him coming down, putting on his vocals.
And it was good, too, because you guys, I mean, dude, I'm a huge Gigi fan, and there isn't a lot of times, though, where you listen to his music. I think like a lot of the early stuff, where he actually had like a somewhat decent band behind him. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of shit out there. It's rough. It's still cool to listen to, but it's like, fuck, man. Like, give me something with a good band and that fucking guy fronting it and that attitude. And I think that's what you guys delivered on, man.
Yeah, I mean, we were just thrilled to be part of a G.G. Allin record. I guess he was a contemporary, but we did look up to him, because he kind of showed, we thought we were pushing the envelope. He should have balled the envelope up and throw it in somebody's face.
Yeah, along with some shit.
Give us some shit on it.
The brown.
but man, like a lot of the stuff Gigi sings about on that record, I don't agree with not one bit.
Right.
Not one fucking bit, man. I'm pretty much a conservative guy. That kill the police stuff, I don't believe none of that. Equal violence now. I ain't into that. We played that song live 100 times. I mean, it's because we got to do a record with Gigi. It's like I wouldn't have sit there and go, well, I don't agree with this subject, so we can't do this. It's like, fuck it, man. Just say what you gotta say. I want to be part of it. I don't care what you fucking say. You can say blow up the world now. I don't give a damn. And we weren't going to be censors to him, and it was never discussed. It was never discussed until now. To be honest with you, like people say, well, Anti-Scene got that song about everybody getting out of the country. Blah blah blah. They got songs about this. Well, yeah, they also played with Gigi and got killed the police and assassinated the president. So what are they, extreme left or extreme right? Which is it? Maybe we're extreme. We don't give a shit what you think,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everything's it's so critiqued and criticized, and especially, I mean, it doesn't matter when things were done. I mean, you guys, you cut that album going on 30 years ago now?
Gigi came to the airport and I was supposed to pick it up, but my daughter was being born.
Mm-hmm.
And my daughter's now 28 years old. So, yes, it was 28, 29 years ago.
Man, it's just fucking wild how fast time flies, isn't it?
Yeah. It's just, you kind of think back to a time, and you can think about this with music or wrestling, which were kind of supposed to be big on it.
Well, that's the glory about our shows. We like to go all over the place. So there's no restriction.
But wasn't it great when you could just enjoy stuff?
Yeah.
Movies and stuff. All you had to do was enjoy it. You didn't have to put it under a microscope.
Yeah. There are definitely simpler times, brother.
Well, I long for those times. I long for that because that's the way I grew up. That's the way I live. This is the way shit that's going on now, man. I don't want to be part of it.
Right. Yeah, dude, I hear you on that. Well, let me ask you this. So, I mean, you guys, what was the last thing you remember saying to Gigi before you went on that infamous bender?
Hey, I'll tell you exactly what happened. He was down, man. It's like he would come down to Charlotte and stay with us when he really wanted to decompress.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't want people knowing where he was. He didn't want the phone ringing. I mean, back then there was phone on the wall, but he didn't want being tracked down. And we'd always treat him like family, because I guess in our mind, I mean, I still am close with Merle, And I don't know, I guess both the Allin boys were always like family to me. And he came down, and he was with that chick that he did those talk shows with. He got a phone call from someone and said they wanted him to be on Jane Whitney talk show, a daytime talk show. And he was staying with us. And at the time, we recorded that acoustic stuff, the kind of country sounding stuff they call Gigi Allin and the Carolina Shit Kickers.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, we'd recorded one part of it months ago, and then we recorded two more that day, and we were just fucking around because we had the gear and the band there, so we just did it and kind of on the fly, no plans for it really, And he gets the call to go to Jane Whitney, so he goes, and but first I got to tell you, we had a show that weekend, and he was going to come on, and we were going to play a song, and he was going to come on at the end and do it with us and raise all kind of hell. Him and that girl were waiting in our bus, and they got in some kind of argument or something, and they took off, and we just kind of left there holding the bag. I mean, we didn't announce it or anything. But, after that, I was just like, you know what? Fuck it, So they had got a hotel, and they were there, and I just remember that was on Saturday. I didn't hear from him until Monday. He called me up. He said, man, I just want to tell you, I'm sorry about the other night. And I said, well, what happened? And he said, we started getting into it, and then I was in a fucking shitty mood, and I just wanted to get the fuck out of there. And he made amends for it. But the last thing I ever talked to him, he apologized to me. I know people say, Gigi Allen don't apologize to nobody. I said, well, you know what? There's the people that knew the motherfucker and the people that read about him on the internet. Guess which category I'm in.
Exactly.
So, that's what happened. And I was in the studio producing another band. And I got a call from Bill. And he's like, man, he said, this is the call that we've been figuring, I've been giving you a few years now. Mm-hmm. And even though we were expecting it at any time, it sure as hell didn't make it any easier.
Yeah, fucking A, man. And, that's like you said, that there's this perceived notion of what people who read the tabloids and everything thought they knew about the man. Then there's, the people that knew him. And it's cool to hear, your take and your viewpoint on that. Because it's like, at the end of the day, I mean, he was a human like everybody else. He just liked to fucking piss people off and stir up shit. And he did it in the most extreme way possible. And I'm a firm believer that, there'll never be another guy like him ever again,
No, there won't. And anyone that tries, they're just going to be a pale imitation because, but now, what all you got to do is
fart.
Just pick a couple choice words, and you're the worst son of a bitch that's ever walked earth.
Yeah.
So, fuck it.
Speaking of fuck it, I was kind of creeping you out on creeping through your Facebook pictures. Dude, you've met a lot of fucking wrestlers. There's a bunch of ECW boys I've seen. Tell us about Mick Foley, man. Do you have any kind of relationship with him?
Man, let me tell you something about Mick Foley. When I first discovered Cactus Jack, it wasn't when most people did, which, I guess would have been, WCW?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
No, I was tuned into what he had going on when he was with Eastern Championship before it turned into Extreme Championship. Yeah. It might have even been, at this point, it might have even been Tri-State.
Right. They had guys like
Eddie Gilbert.
Yeah, hot stuff Eddie Gilbert.
And they had three really big, brutal shows. The thing that got me hooked on him was, I used to know this dude in Philadelphia named Furry Counts. He used to run this mail order business called Mondo, and he had a store up there. And every time we were in Philadelphia, we'd go hang out with this guy. He made a Bruiser Brody T-shirt.
Yeah.
Right? And so I got one of those. Man, I saw a picture in a wrestling magazine of this guy named Cactus Jack wearing the same Bruiser Brody shirt as me. So he was already cool in my book just because of that. But, man, we dressed the same. I always wore black warm-up pants. Jogging pants. Yeah, I'm going to jog. Whatever they are.
Sweatpants.
Sweat. Yeah, sweat. I do sweat. And he's wearing flannel shirts like I got. I wore flannel shirts since I was a kid. I was like, man, this dude, this is what I would look like if I was in wrestling. It turns out we're the same age and everything. But, man, and then he came to WCW, and we got to see him every week. Mm-hmm. And he quickly became my favorite wrestler.
You say he's your favorite of all time?
Not my favorite of all time. You know who that is. Man, I live in Charlotte. Woo! That's it. You don't even say that. Woo! That's all you got to say, man. But I remember he was doing the Great American Bash at Memorial Stadium here. And I got a anti-snake shirt. I wrote him a letter. I put it in a packet. I gave it to Grizzly Smith.
Nice. Jake the Snake's dad.
He ran it back there on a golf cart. And did he get it? Well, fuck, I don't know. As far as I know, the goddamn thing went in the trash before it ever went in the damn dressing room. But, man, when he came out, and me and a couple of buddies, you know, and they all had anti-snake shirts on and shit, he came out, and he leaned in over the damn rail, pointed at us, and did the bang bang. So I knew he got the damn shirt.
Fuck yeah.
So then, a couple weeks later, I'm watching, you know, WCW, one of the shows that did kind of a replay thing. He's doing a training thing where the Barbarian was in his stable. Remember, his Texas Jack had a stable.
Yeah, yeah.
He was wearing some kind of hippie-looking hoodie thing, you know, just pulled over, but it had a low neck.
Mm-hmm.
And he was wearing the damn anti-snake shirt.
That's what's up.
So then, you know, we wrote the song about him. We tried to get him like, let me tell you this, man. We were playing CBGB.
Damn.
And I wrote him a letter. This is back when you had to do everything by letter.
Yeah, yeah.
And I told him, I said, you know, Nick, we're going to be at CBGB, because this one, he was living in Long Island.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, so, you know, if you could come out, you know, of course, you would be our guest. And so I never heard from him. I didn't know whether he got the letter or not. And we're loading in a CBGB, you know, Hilly Crystal there. Ruth, what's her name? She was there. She's the one that, they had a phone booth in there, and the phone booth rang. She picked it up, and she goes, is anyone here named Jeff Clayton? And I said, yeah, me. She goes, you got a phone call? And I'm like, God damn, who's calling me at CBGB? There's probably something bad shit going on. And I get in there, and he's like, hey, Jeff. I'm like, yeah. He goes, Cactus. I went, oh, shit. And he's like, man, listen. He goes, I appreciate the invitation. I would love to come, but, man, I just got back from Japan. And I am beat up, and I got, you know, jet lag and all. He goes, I just can't make it. I said, hey, man, that's great. I said, the invite's always open. You know, whenever we're anywhere, you're always our guest, you know.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I started seeing him at matches all the time, and he recognized me. He always, like, from the very beginning, he always, like, knew my name. He never had to ask me my name again. And you're from, you know, all this kind of stuff. Because we'd always give him stuff. I always gave him records and stuff that had Texas Jack. I didn't think, oh, yeah, not everybody is stuck in 73 and listens to vinyl like me. But,
they are now.
Yeah, they are now. But, you know, it's like every single time I ever saw him, he was always very, very polite, very cordial, and went out of his way for me. Even several times. The last time, well, I guess it wasn't the last time I saw him in person, but I saw him do one of his comedy things. Yeah, at a comedy club here in Charlotte. And the manager of the comedy club used to manage one of the clubs we played, and she was a good friend of mine, and she knew I love Mick Foley, so she's like, listen, I got you and your wife, like, you know, stateside table when he comes. I was like, wow, that's going to be great, you know. And I'm going in there kind of trying to be, I mean, I don't go everywhere thinking, oh, everyone's going to know who I am. I'm this big star now, shit. But, you know, I'm going in there, man, there's people bringing shit up to get me to sign and getting their pictures made with me. I'm just like, God damn, I'm just trying to, you know, do this. I mean, it was amazing. I couldn't believe it. It's like, God damn, you know. And he comes on, and he sees us sitting there, and, man, he catered the entire show to me. Like, he'd always, like he was talking about, yeah, once I was working down there with the Von Erichs, and I remember I was going to do this thing where I crashed through this wall, and there was a beam right in it, and he goes, Jeff, you would appreciate this, because I went, and he'd include me in every story just about. It was pretty funny. It you know, I don't take shit like that for granted. I was tickled to death about it. I mean, I'm always a fan, you know. I don't care how long I've done this. Man, when I get to see people that I admired and always, I still admire them. You know, it don't get old hat for me. I got to do a tour with The Obsessed. I got to see perform 9 times. You know, and then Dave Chandler writes me and tells me about your show. Hey, man, you got to be on this show. Dave Chandler, he only met me one time. He's like, oh, I know you, man. You're that dude, man. You love wrestling. And yes, sir, I certainly do. And he writes me, man, you got to do this show. I mean, because you know how many times I get people, hey, you want to do my podcast? I'm like,
right.
You know, what, 9 o'clock? I got to go to bed at 9:30. And I'm like, well, fucking Dave Chandler says I got to do this show. I got to do it.
Fuck yeah. Dave's the man. I appreciate it. I remember when he was on, he spoke nothing but high praise about it. He's like, man, you got to have him on. And, Luke Hawk's another guy, another wrestler. And I'm like, dude, I fucking almost shit my pants. I'm like, dude, that's fucking awesome. Like I said, I love having guys on, especially in the music scene. I'm in the music business myself. Like, so to be able to share that camaraderie of pro wrestling, man, and be able to sit here bullshit about wrestling amongst other things, to me, I mean, there's no greater joy. I fucking get to sit here and shoot the shit with fucking Jeff Clayton about pro wrestling, man. It's fucking killer, dude. That's what life's about.
Well, man, I'm gonna tell you, I'm honored to have you ask me. I mean, I didn't make it. I don't mean to make it sound like, oh, people ask me and I just shrug it off. It's just sometimes too much. And believe me, I do not take it for granted, man. The fact that anyone wants to hear a goddamn word I got to say about anything means the world to me. I'm not too important to talk to anyone, and I don't know. I'm sitting there Saturday night late watching me some Fox News, getting all mad, and I was bling. Here comes it's like, Dave Chandler. What the hell is Dave Chandler doing me about? Hey, man, you got to do this damn show. Dave Chandler says I got to do it, so I'm doing it, I reckon.
Fuck yeah. Dave's a good man. Love talking to that guy, man.
Man, I love St. Vitus. They're one of my favorite bands, man.
Oh, yeah, dude. It's so crazy. I mean, they're lumped in with, like, it being, some of the forefathers of that whole doom movement with, like, Pentagram. And, dude, it's amazing. Like, just going back and watching some of that old shit. And even still to this day, I mean, they still fucking rock out, God damn it. It was so cool to hear that he was a wrestling, find out that he was a wrestling fan. Like I told him, I was like, man, I was watching a fucking Mentors documentary, and like I seen you, and I think it was him and Wino. They were talking about fucking El Duce, and he's wearing an ECW shirt, and I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I'm like, well, but and here's the way I do shit, Jeff. Like I just hit people up. I try to be real because I think real recognizes real. I don't have to try to be. I just am. I don't like, hey, this is Top 40 Radio Hits. Do a new one podcast. Fuck all that. It's a lot cooler for me when you can just be real with people and it rubs off and it's given back and forth. So I was sitting there and I'm like, man, like I'm just gonna hit this dude up. Or hit St. Vitus up and see what it would take, like I could probably score like Dave on my show, like that's the shit I gotta tell myself in my head so I actually do it instead of just being a fucking little coward, and not asking. And I hit them up, and I think like a week or so later I got a response. I was like, yeah, hit up Dave, and here's his fucking email. I was like, holy shit. And it came, man, and now I got you, and the world's looking fucking all sunshine and rainbows now. Hey, man, let me ask you this though. So it's a cliche question, and I guess I'm not gonna do the Mount Rushmore shit. But I'd like to know, who would you say would be like your top 5 favorite wrestlers of all time, man?
Top 5.
Top 5. Heel or baby, doesn't matter.
Let me think here a second, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Brody.
Yes.
Abby.
Ooh, yeah.
Mick. That's Cactus.
Yeah.
Right here. Punk. Harry.
Hell yeah. Right on. What's the most brutal match you've ever seen in person?
Seen?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I saw Sabu and Taz tear up a damn armory in Concord, North Carolina one day. I was like, God almighty.
Hell yeah.
And
we've had Sabu on the show too, man.
I remember I used to go to one of the, some of those shows they had down here with the Mid-Atlantic, back in the 70s and 80s.
That was good shit.
One of those Thanksgiving things, and man, time has kind of muddied the details for me. But one thing that stayed perfectly clear is that it was Ric Flair and Greg Valentine. Now I don't know if they were partnering up or if they were against each other, but it was a cage. every time they climbed up on that top rope or got on that cage, man, those blonde heads were just ripped.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, wow.
Isn't it amazing how, like, him and even the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes back in the day, man, like, those bleach blonde motherfuckers, dude. So you get a little trickle of blood. It just seemed like all of a sudden it was gushing out their whole head, man. It was like it just made such a great fucking picture, such a great visual, man.
I mean, I wonder if that's why some of the guys did bleach their hair out. I mean, I'm sure
That's a good question.
But I'm sure some of those guys that it might have been.
Yeah, I've never really thought about that. I got
But man, I mean, it's like, you know, I really love that old stuff like that. I mean, it's like I take this leap from the old stuff, you know, and then to that, you know, when we started discovering the American version of hardcore, and then when I learned about Japanese hardcore was through Wing and IWA, you know, with Matsunaga and Pogo and that kind of stuff. And then of course, you know, when they did the tournament where Funk and Cactus headlined the thing, you know, with the exploding barbed wire and all that.
Yeah,
Love it. And I mean, and then the thing about it is, look, I'm not going to sit here and knock what's going on today, because I know what's going on today. Man, there's some kid right now, and he watched Raw tonight, and he saw something on there, and it clicked for him.
right.
And 27 years from now, that kid's going to talk about that, even though, you know, I'm sitting here going, you know, whatever. I know it's important to someone. I know someone is digging it, and you know what? That's great. As long as they're digging it and it's wrestling, I'm good with it.
Well, that being said, have you watched anything like of the newer products, like AEW, Impact, or anything?
Man, I have not. I did watch. What's the one that Billy Corrigan's doing?
The NWA.
I did watch the first couple of that, and I enjoyed it. But man, it's like I'm so busy these days. You was right with the almighty lockdown and stay home. You know that I'm busier than I've ever been, man. And I just don't have time to watch TV. I really
Right.
And I told you in one of my texts to you that I hate technology, so I don't know how to do a TV bar or nothing like that. You know, so I'm kind of I guess if I didn't have a whole lot going on all the time, I probably would. I get pulled in so many directions that have nothing to do with really core any kind of entertainment whatsoever. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure that there's some good stuff going on. I'm sure there's some good people, or else, you know, it still wouldn't be going.
Oh yeah, it's cool. Like what they're doing with AEW. I mean, it's modern. There's hella fucking athletes. There's still some good throwback shit, and there's some hardcore shit. You know, we're talking about seeing some thumbtacks and some crazy fucking spots and all that, and brutality, and it's got some guys that you might remember. You know, like Chicken Snake Roberts, Arn Anderson, brands like MLW, Major League Wrestling, like the same deal, man. They have the Von Erich boys. Kevin's boys are wrestling for them. They have a good mix. They have a show. It's on YouTube. It's called Fusion. And dude, you want like strong style, you want death match, you want fucking pretty much anything in wrestling that isn't bullshit. You know, it's not like some hokey dokey soap opera WWE shit. It's great to watch, man. It's really fucking cool. They do a lot of, and fuck, they've had guys like Terry Funk in the promotion like early on in the early 2000s, and they're just now releasing a lot of that footage, man. I think there was a death match between Dusty. It was like Dusty and Terry Funk, and I think Steve Carino, some other guys, man. But a lot of really cool shit. If you ever get like a second out of your busy motherfucking life to check it out, man. Yeah, man.
That sounds like something I'd be interested in. Man, you know what? I can tell you the last two wrestlers that were new to me. I mean, I guess when I tell you their names, you might go, well, goddamn, man, that's like 10 years ago. But the little Japanese girl that comes out with the mask.
Oh, Asuka?
Yes. I was very impressed with her when I saw her. Also, the kid, the Japanese kid that they were fishing, doing strong style, always wore the teeth guard, the black teeth guard.
Oh, is that, who the fuck is that? With WWE?
Yeah. I guess he was on, what was that, like, training league show they did?
Are you talking about, like, it wasn't Yoshi Katsu, was it?
No, man, skinny guy, long hair. young dude, Japanese, and they always said, that like they were really pushing that term strong style.
Oh, God, Shinsuke Nakamura.
That's him, yes. I like him when I saw him.
Yeah, dude, he's had some hella matches in New Japan, dude. Against Brock Lesnar went over there when he first left WWE, and they got it on. And dude, Shinsuke is good, man. I don't really like how he's utilized in WWE, but that's just kind of thing, They're a huge corporation. They're a bastardized version of themselves,
Well, I mean, man, I look. I mean, WWE had Rob Van Dam and Sabu, and look what they did to them.
Yeah. Well, that and they happen to get busted with drugs, but
Like that's they're the first ones to ever do that.
Hell no. Randy Orton's still around, and that that dude's been doing some shit.
You tell me the party ain't doing drugs?
Right? No shit. Well, they got an angle going on right now. I don't know if they just finished it up or whatever, but with Jeff, and basically making fun of his alcoholism. Well, not making fun, but using it as a storyline. Yeah, damn, man, they didn't learn anything from when they were doing that shit with Hawk from Legion of Doom and Scott Hall back in WCW. Like, damn it, dude. Like, try to find that. That was painful to watch, dude, especially with, for me, like as a kid with the Road Warriors, because I fucking love the best man. Between them and like Rock and Roll Express, and I'd say like modern day, like Dumb Bucks, that's Road Warriors is my favorite tag team ever, man. I mean, it just don't get more intimidating as a fucking tandem than those two motherfuckers,
My favorite tag team of all was the Gene and Ole version of the Andersons.
Nice. Okay.
Man, them guys just scared the shit out of me.
Hell yeah. The Ole was a fucking brute.
I actually saw them and like bumped into them. They hurt me.
Fuck yeah. Dude, so I was also surfing through your guys' vast catalog on iTunes, and you guys actually have a fucking wrestling album that's straight up nothing but like wrestling themed music and songs. Yes, sir. It's fucking awesome, and you guys cover Bad Street USA.
Yeah, matter of fact, we just put that out on a single. We just did a track where we had Jerry A from Poison Idea doing lead vocal.
Oh, no shit.
And the B-side it's a split with it's the Anti-Scene doing a split with Anti-Scene. We did a track from 2012, and that was Bad Street. Yeah,
dude, it's fucking amazing. I love that. So our first, what was it? I don't know. And 80-something shows that we did, it was the first 20 seconds intro of Bad Street USA was what I was using for our intro theme music, because dude, that's like my favorite wrestling theme ever, dude. I own there's a DVD out. It's like a behind the scenes, like almost like a behind the music of it. Yeah. Back on Bad Street, man. I'll have to get you a copy and fucking.
Oh man, I would love to see that.
Dude, it's great, and it doesn't take itself too seriously, which is even better, man. I got the 7-inch of that shit. That takes you back to that time too, as a young kid, and all those fucking big ass hair fucking dudes. I don't know what it is, but I just love it. Like the smoke-filled arenas, like I was talking about, like reading the old PWIs and shit, and just seeing all that, and the fucking dudes all bloody, and like all the guys rocking those Texas territories and the Southern territories back in the day. Like, that was my shit, dude. And the Freebirds raised some motherfucking hell back in the day. And, I'd have to put them up there, too, as another one of my favorite tag teams and or factions, They're like one of the first, everybody has like, there's the Horsemen and shit, but let's face it, dude, the Freebirds were 3 dudes. They were a tag team, but they were more like a faction before there really was one,
Yeah, I agree.
And I love that music video too. That shit's so silly. Did you ever hear the whole album that he cut back when that came out?
I cut that out.
Hell yeah.
There were 3 copies of it. I don't know.
Fuck yeah. Oh man. But yeah, I just thought that was awesome. You guys got the Taboo song on there, Cactus Jack, what the fuck else, Parts Unknown. Good shit, man. Really good shit. Well, Jeff, before we wind down here, man, dude, brother, I'm definitely going to have to get you back on here sometime. We shoot the shit about some more wrestling, man, whenever you're...
I would love to listen every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I go live on the Anti-Sin Facebook page, and I do a thing where I talk about Anti-Sin history. It's called Break On Through. And I don't know how many I've done now. I've been doing it the entire shutdown. And there was a time I was doing Tuesdays and Thursdays, but then I kind of wrapped it down to Tuesdays when things started opening up and people were getting busy. But I talk about, there's a lot of different things to talk about. Not just, we played here, we played there, we played there. It's just the people that were in our orbit and allowed us to be in theirs, and the people we met, the people that influenced us, and all this kind of stuff. And I talk about all kinds of things. And I would like to also have you and your listeners check out a company that I designed T-shirts for called On the Mark Shirts. Big cartel, and they do a thing where they sell the shirt, for a week, and then they do a pre-order, and that's it, and then you can't get it no more. And there's one up now of a very, very cool design, if I do say so myself, of the Great Kabuki and Gary Hart.
Oh, I did see that. I did see that on Facebook. Hell yeah. That's fucking awesome. Dude, Gary Hart, they also, MLW, that company I was telling you about, man, they do a lot of things. They tribute packages and stuff to him. I think I can't remember what exactly his ties were. I think early on, before he passed, he had some ties with MLW. So it's cool that they acknowledge guys like that,
I mean, God, they were the best.
Yeah, and it's nostalgia. Let's face it, man. As wrestling fans, we fucking love that shit that we grew up on, So when you see it in modern day and it's getting its just due, it's too fucking cool for school, man.
I'll tell you what, I'm writing did you say MLW?
MLW, Major League Wrestling. They even had Tony Schiavone doing commentary for him for a little while before he went to AEW.
Well, I just wrote that on my dry erase board, so that'll remind me to look at it.
Fuck yeah. Jeff, once again, man, I'm totally grateful for this opportunity, man. We're going to stay in touch, dude. Fucking hopefully I can feed you some wrestling that, maybe get you back a little more when you got time to do it. And everybody out there listening right now, please make sure you check out what Jeff's got going on. I was able to check out a couple of those live videos you did. And like I said, anybody that's a fan of the band or just the scene and what was going on, around these guys, you're going to fucking love this shit. And I know a few people off the top of my head, they're going to go batshit crazy once they listen to this and find out. So, yeah. I'm going to be scoring that Gary Hart T-shirt too, man, because I can't let that shit slide. That's fucking awesome. Great Kabuki's awesome, man. He's one of and you guys cut the track on this guy too with the Great Buddha.
The mysterious green mist.
Yeah. And storyline wise, I mean, Muda was the son of the Great Kabuki.
You're the son of the Great Kabuki, yeah.
Yeah, fuck yeah, brother. So, man, everybody, please hit us up at Juice Pro Wrestling on Instagram, Juice Pro Wrestling on Facebook, at JPW Podcast on Twitter. JPW.com is our YouTube channel. Hit the fucking like and subscribe button. When you're there, fucking share those videos with your friends because you get to hear cool fucking times like this fucking session right here with fucking Jeff.
Thanks for having me. I really had a good time talking to y'all.
Oh yeah, anytime, brother. It's an honor and a privilege, brother. Dude, until next time, we gotta wet 'em up. Hey, I'm so fucking wet for Jeff Clayton. And shit's fucking insane. You better buy the fucking t-shirts, buy the music, or we will find you.
You gonna do sex to me?
Did you like that video? If so, be sure to hit like and subscribe and check out more killer content from your boys at Juice Pro Wrestling. Whoa, yeah!